power102fm.com.
Good evening.
Sexplosion is on Power 102. Power 102, Fridays at 9 p.m. with Dr. Raj, the guru of sex in the Caribbean.
What's up?
There is an equation between chocolate and sex. There is a formula created
Something
by
changes.
when it comes to chocolate and sex. How many people know that?
The country's most informative sex education program.
Yeah,
is
I
Sexplosion.
heard it today and I was
You
like,
can't
something
tell
sounding
me
weird.
you know how you're going to feel having
We have no say.
persons make love to you when you have never done that.
Sexplosion with the angels.
Sexplosion. Fridays at 9 p.m.
Sexplosion.
Exclusively on Power 102. Empowering you.
Good? We will? I don't know if I want to. I don't know if I want to. No bathroom breaks. I hear you. I hear you. Get started now, man. Let me get started. Let me talk about something now. You have a topic or? Well, if you have a topic, what will you talk about? What would we talk about? Somebody send us a topic, please. Those who listening, send us a topic or topics.
Okay, coming. Well, thank you for sticking with us in Power 102.1 FM, and a very special thanks as always to 9 Miles International for bringing our time. It's now 7 minutes after 9 o'clock, and we do welcome you to Sexplosion with the only sexologist in the Caribbean, Dr. Raj of Total Image and the Adult Therapy Center, which is located on its University. May I remind you that this program may contain material that is not suitable for children. Parental guidance are therefore advised. And a very special nighttime greetings to you, family. How are you today?
Pleasant good evening to you.
I have missed you for the last couple of days.
I wonder why.
But I know.
You wanted somebody to hold your hand to carry the photo.
No, but I know you are.
I notice here you're doing your duties, but that's okay. That's okay. I've had to complain to management that you're not coming through with what you're supposed to be doing. Pleasant good evening for those of you on Facebook. For example, Lynette, my good friend from high school, Camille, Michael, Janelle, Alicia, Navi, Sachin, my nephew. He's my number one fan. He's always on. Diane, Shiva Govind, my very good friend. He's over in Florida taking care of his mom. That is a dedicated son, I must say that. If you know it, the gentleman, you'll know why I say that. Shireen, Gayatri, Mark, Bisoon, my cousin, who I haven't seen in years, but he's always on my program. So, good evening to you, Bisoon. Derek, my classmate from Northeastern College. Demetrius, Vijay Sankar, what a wonderful night Tuesday night. My God, we had such a wonderful time. Rachel, Sarita, Oscar, you know, long I haven't seen Oscar. Oscar is from St. James, I'm sure you know him. Marlon, who else? Kavita. So, that's those who are on Facebook right now. Kemi is also on. I wonder if where Kemi is. Is he still in Florida? I think he's in Coral Springs, somewhere around there. Naz, yes. So, you're a real famous fella, you know, boy. I go to Toronto and people know you there, boy. They real know you, boy. Yeah, well, they know you. They don't use the brother of Louis.
As you mentioned that, he's celebrating his birthday today.
Happy birthday to Louis.
And, you know, there's a certain time of the year we both become the same age. We are the same age right now.
Yeah, you're the same age right now for the next month.
For the next month.
Yes, and then you pass him again.
You know, if they had Sexplosion in those days, maybe
Dad would have something else to do.
He might
So
have-
anybody, I met a lot of people in Toronto over the weekend,
Yeah.
and whenever they realize who I was, and they will ask me about my co-host, and they say, that guy name is Saldana, that's the same masked man in Toronto that we know of. I say, yeah, that's the famous guy. I say, his dad was the famous masked man, really. So
But did you mention to them that that's his younger brother?
yeah, well, they'll ask that question. They'll
Oh,
ask
is
if
he
you're
younger?
related.
Oh.
And I'll say, yes, that's your brother. Well, I didn't make it a point to say your younger brother because it's only a few months. It's only 11 months. But
This is what I was about.
I was going to say a twin brother. So for all the folks in Toronto who I met and who is listening, who is taking in the program, I met a beautiful young lady on a flight. Which leg of the flight? I can't remember. And it so happened we were on the same leg coming back. She's from Serbia, so we'll have somebody from Serbia listening to the program soon, if she's not on already.
So she was on the same leg.
She was on a leg of the flight. My itinerary mean a part of the trip.
Okay, I just wanted to.
She wasn't sitting on my leg.
No, because I noticed you mentioned leg twice. So, and I know you cannot walk on one foot.
So I have two.
Yeah.
Riaz, Ronnie, Tony, how are you, my darling? I haven't seen you in a while. Nadine, Janil. So we have a nice audience, boy.
Yeah.
Naz is on, and we have some people on Instagram. Can't read it. It's such a fine print. I don't know how to make that bigger for me to read. My eyes are not the same as it used to be. I need glasses to read. Only to read, nothing else. So I have some challenges there. So whenever I mention talking about Sexplosion, and there are some fans who came and they were talking to me, and some people who I met, I went to a number of places. I don't want to mention all the places I went to. I went to a number of places over the first 2 days. The last day, snow started to fall around 4 o'clock in the morning, and I had a very snowy day. I went into another city and spent some time with a family member, she and her husband, and we had a wonderful time moving around and whatnot too. So, but whenever I mention Sexplosion, and they'll ask about Junior Saldana and that voice and your brother over there. So they made the connection. So they made the connection. So you're a hero over there, man.
So you didn't even throw in a good word for me?
No, I couldn't do that. I have to tell him the truth about you.
So when I do decide,
If you decide to go to Toronto, there'll be people waiting there with big stone. Something to beat you with. Something to beat you with, because I give them the true picture of who you are
Okay.
and the kind of person that you are. So
Did you mention
they
to
thought
them,
you were nice for
Yeah,
them.
but did you mention to them that you are my coach?
Yeah. I told them everything you learned was from me. I wonder if I get no licks too, boy.
No, they would get.
We have here Indira who has joined us, Antonio, Bim. I think Bim is from Penal. Yes, he's from Penal. So we have people from all over. Grandy. Well, where's Derek, boy? Try to remember where Derek is. Philadelphia. I know he was traveling recently. Anyway, so I met a young lady. Good night. Where's anyway, she'll come on soon. I'll talk about that later. So-
Young lady.
Yeah, well, I was going to talk about it, but she's not on yet. So why talk about it now?
Well, it's true.
Yeah, we'll wait until that time.
Yeah. Time
So-
is important, eh?
So what is your topic for tonight? You tell me you'll have a topic, a special topic for
I
tonight.
haven't really thought about it. I mean, I haven't really thought about nothing that really jumps out at me.
Well, I have a topic.
You do?
Yeah.
What we
Sex
talking
education generally.
about?
You know, generally people think that they know a lot about sex. And I'll tell you something. I started to study sex at a very early age. Preteen years. Preteen.
Yeah.
I'm not making a mistake when I say that. And I have done many research. I've gone through many books. I've been to places that would make people shiver to go to. I've been all over the world. There's no country that deals with things of a sexual nature that I haven't been to, that I didn't want to go to. I've seen things that people will not believe. As a matter of fact, sometimes I doubt myself. As a matter of fact, some of the things that I saw in a particular country, I think it was in, where was it? Thailand? I forget where now. Yeah, Thailand. Where I was telling people about it over the years after seeing it in Thailand. And in 1987-88, Time magazine did a feature on the sex business in Thailand. And they mentioned everything that I spoke about, that I saw firsthand. I still have that Time magazine in my office. I kept it because it was so incredible when you see the things that people could do with their bodies, when you see the things that people do in a sexual settings, when you come to the realization that the mind and the body, that sexual part of it that we possesses, it could come into fruition, it could blossom at a very young age, it could take you through your entire lifetime, even until death. As a matter of fact, there's it just slipped me. There's things that people do with the dead sexually also, right? So when you think about all these things that are happening, and you think about sex in a universal way, in a holistic way, which is what I have to do. As a sexologist, I have to do that. I cannot look at sex as just a man and a woman meeting and having sex. That is not sex. We have a word for that, and that's the popular word, therefore. That is not sex. Necrophilia, that is having sex with dead. You know that?
Yeah, I heard about that.
Necrophilia, when you have sex with the dead. So, when you are exposed to all these different things in your studies, but yet still you haven't touched on everything. Even at my clinic, when someone comes and have a conversation with me, a consultation, and they tell me things about themselves, and I go back into the archives of my mind with something that was told to me by someone else, and I also research some of the information that are put out there by others all over the world. And it is not limited to Trinidad and Tobago. And I want people to understand that. When you talk about things of a sexual nature, it is very universal. Meaning, if you think that your experience that you're having is unique to you here in little old Trinidad, it is not. Somebody in some other country is experiencing the very same thing you're experiencing, not with the same person, but the very same experience. So when you talk about developmental of an individual when they come to their sexual development from whatever age, from age 0 onwards, as a baby onwards, because if you can find the fetus masturbating in the womb, that's a sexual act. But of course, now with the change in society and the change in how we see the world, there are laws that governs the behavior of people. But behind closed door, do you feel those laws operate?
No.
It can't. It can't. When we were studying sex and human sexuality in the US, and we look at the legality of certain sexual acts per state, every state in the United States have its own laws.
Well, yeah.
So you will go to a place like Tennessee and you could marry a 14-year-old girl. I didn't hear people talking about that when they were debating the age thing over here. You can have sex in a particular place, but not in another. Some places, for example in Florida, a blowjob is illegal, but yet still people do it. Now, when you come back to Trinidad, our laws are old, archaic English laws. We haven't written any, our legal minds, although we say they are very brilliant and whatnot, we have not pooled them together and come up with laws that are suitable for us in Trinidad or maybe the wider Caribbean. We have not done that because we have accepted most of the laws that were handed down to us. That's fine, but some of it needs to be fine-tuned. Some of it needs to change, which we have been doing, but I don't think we have done it fast enough.
Yeah.
I remember when the VP of India was visiting Trinidad in 1991, 92, I think it was. And he says the Indian Supreme Court is supreme. It meant that they don't go to any jurisprudence outside of India for any one of the law. Having said India, have you ever noticed that this station is very biased with their news reporting from India? They report all the crime and nasty things that are happening in India, but they didn't report when India landed on the moon, or when India went to the chicken neck and stand off against China and make China back down. They wouldn't report those things, Or they don't report the positive about Moody.
Well, maybe they.
I think somebody here is biased towards India.
Well,
And they put all the bad news. No, I'm very serious about
yeah,
it.
but when you overlook, but maybe they don't have someone who look into the details.
Oh God, you're landing on the moon and they don't know about that? You're going to the moon?
Yeah, but when you speak
But you
in
know
terms-
about a rape that take place?
Yeah, but when we're speaking in terms of landing on the moon, how many years we speaking about?
Just a few months ago.
A few
What if you are
months?
talking about?
I thought you speaking.
Well, you see you biased too.
Mhm.
But I find that the news that are reported about India in this station are very biased. They don't report anything positive about India. You don't hear about the gains and all those things about India. You hear about a rape, you hear about a murder, you hear about them kind of thing. Or
No,
nothing like
okay.
that. But anyway, back to what I was talking about. When you look at life and people in a holistic manner, when it comes to things of a sexual nature, you'll understand things differently. We even have East Indians in Trinidad who don't know their history. They don't know their history in Trinidad. They can't tell you the origin of their names. They can't tell you what caste or what part of India they came from. That's serious, you know. And those things are important. I'll tell you why it's important. It's important to know your past, as Marcus Garvey says, so you'll know your future. If you don't know your past, you don't know where you're going.
Well, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Marcus Garvey said that.
I can see that.
If you don't have a true understanding as to who you are, for example, you as a person, you come from mixed heritage. Chinese, African, Portuguese, or whatever. And you know that. You know it's a mix-up. But if you start finding out about your heritage and your ancestry, you will understand yourself better.
Yes,
Because it emboldens you. It strengthens you as a person. How many of us take the time to find out who we are? Really. You are not an isolated person, you know. That's why sexuality is not looked at in a bubble, you know. When you're dealing with human sexuality and a person's sexual behavior and the things that they like to do, you look at patterns in the family. You look at things. That's why it is important when you're getting married to find out the history of the family. If there's mental illness, if anybody was ever charged for rape, these kind of things. These things are important, you know. These things are important, but we don't pay enough attention to it. If you come from an agrarian background,
Yeah.
right, you could safely say that your DNA is rooted in that. So you shouldn't fail at agriculture. If you come from a business background,
Yes.
your DNA is rooted in that. So you shouldn't fail as a businessman. You should have that in you. If you come from a background of an educator, you should reach certain heights as an educator and also promote yourself as an educator and be a very good teacher. Because it's in your DNA.
Anyway,
So we
folks,
taking a break?
Yeah. Anyway, folks, I want to get to that.
Yeah, I know. I'm taking it back home.
Anyway, folks, taking our time, 24 minutes after 9 o'clock. You are on the inside of Sexplosion on Power 102 FM station that's reliable and effective. With the only sexologist in the Caribbean, Dr. Raj of Total Image and the Adult Therapy Center. We're going to take that break and we'll be right back with you. Stay tuned.
Are the problems and destructive anxieties of today tearing you apart? If there was ever a time to readjust your priorities and refocus your vision, it's now. Join Pastor Wayne Sampson on the Vision Flow devotional program every Monday from 5:30 to 6 a.m. right here on Power 102 FM. Jesus is the only one who can give you peace in the midst of today's storm.
Introducing ISM. News travels fast. In today's fast-paced world, access to
There you
accurate,
go.
up-to-date information 24/7 is essential to making critical decisions in your life. Izzo is the Caribbean's newest and most innovative news source, giving you a Caribbean perspective on politics, crime, business, sport, entertainment, technology, and special investigative features. Izzo, IZZSO. Izzo, your information source, designed for your lifestyle. Download the Izzo app for iOS and Android devices, and visit our website at www.izzo.com. Izzo, news travels fast.
Sexplosion is on Power 102. Power 102, Fridays at 9 p.m. with Dr. Raj Ragnanan, the guru of sex in the Caribbean.
There is an equation between chocolate and sex. There is a formula created by the Aztecs when it comes to chocolate and sex. How many people know that?
The country's most informative sex education program is Sexplosion.
You can't tell me you know how you're going to feel having two persons make love to you when you have never done that.
Sexplosion with the angels.
Sexplosion, Fridays at 9 p.m. Sexplosion, exclusively on Power 102, empowering you.
Well, we welcome you back to Sexplosion on Power 2.1 FM with Sexologist Dr. Raj Ragnanan, our total image and the adult therapy center. Well, here's where we give you the opportunity, our audience, to interact with Dr. Raj live here in studio, and it's very simple. All you've got to do is give him a call at 222-8255, also at 612-8255. For those of you who would like to send him a WhatsApp or a text message, you can also do that on his private mobile at 740-1961. We'll remind you that this program may contain material that is not suitable for children. Parental guidance are therefore advised. I'll tell you what we are going to do. We're going to go straight to the lines. That person left us. Let's see. Hello and welcome to Sexplosion. Good evening. Hey! How are you going, Granny?
Hi, Granny. How are you?
But I'll just tell you something, and I have to I got to take my own water.
Okay.
I want to touch because you see, keeping because I just get by without which is in my but I know myself, you understand?
Mm-hmm.
Because when I hear people talking, a woman called me about sometime last year. Oh yeah, and you should have just signed up and prayed to God. Stupid. I have two grandchildren, 9 and 10 years. And the things they tell me about myself, they make me wonder. Because they learn that in school.
Right.
You understand?
Correct.
So, I want to.
No problem. Well, I know
I cannot call you, I cannot tell you. I have to come.
Well, yeah, because David told me that you wanted to get in touch with me. I called you on Thursday and you told me you would call the program tonight. And I did follow through with the call.
Right.
So whenever I see you, we'll discuss it further.
Yeah. I don't like to put understand?
Okay, well, we'll talk
I
soon.
don't know. Do they say everything?
Mm.
What kind of is to get that practice with me. That's it.
Okay, well, what I'll do, I'll send you that information so you'll know.
All right.
All right? Tomorrow I'll send it to you.
Well, I'll tell him and I'll get to him.
Sure. Okay, Granny. Good night. So we have to say, well, I did mention Camille, Marlon, Lynette. Who is this? Ronnie Ramdas, Sitaram. I wonder how many Hindus or how many Indian Trinidadian know that Sitaram is unique to Trinidad and Trinidad only, and why it is so unique as a greeting. Why it is so unique and so powerful. How many people know that? Only Trinidadians say Sitaram to one another. Hindu Trinidadians. Yeah. I wonder how many people know the history behind that. How that was given to us 42 years ago as a greeting.
That sounds very interesting.
Well, you know, in
wanted
India,
to-
when you meet someone,
Yeah.
you say namaste. And namaste means I bow to that which is divine in you. Now, if you are a Bhakt or a follower of Lord Hanuman, you'll understand that Lord Hanuman was given jewels. All the great jewels of the world was given to him as a gift. And he was biting each one and cracking it open, even diamonds. He's so powerful. Breaking it open. And when the people saw him doing that, they were asking him, why are you doing that? He said, I'm looking for God in it. If it doesn't have God, it has no value. And he was throwing it away. So they asked him, they said, do you have God in you? And he said, yes. And he ripped open his chest and he showed them God seated inside his body.
Amazing.
And Sita and Ram was seated inside of him. So anybody who is a devotee of Lord Hanuman knows that God resides inside of you.
Wow. Very interesting.
And that is from the story of Hanuman. That's why Sat Maharaj gave that to the Hindus as a form of greeting. A lot of Hindus don't know that. They just say Sitaram and they don't know why
But
they say
don't know
Sitaram.
the meaning, the true
Yeah,
meaning
that
of
is the
word.
meaning behind it. It is a powerful meaning. I see Sita and Ram inside of you.
But I'm pretty sure you enlightened a lot of people.
Well, that's what this program is all about, enlightenment in every possible way. Because I have a Hindu, a Hindu, a Sanatanist Hindu, has a responsibility towards my fellow man first. And my fellow men is Trinidadians and Tobagonians.
Yeah.
My dish. That's, you see, if people study these things, they will understand the power behind everything. Your dish is where you're born. So your first sense of honor is to your country. That's why you're supposed to be very patriotic. Your dish. Country. So if you're patriotic towards your country, you're patriotic towards your fellow man. That's why when I study sex, even when we have conferences and whatnot, which I'm going to one very soon in Las Vegas again, which is the A4M. I've been going that for every year for the last 25 years. Right. And we have discussions on these things. And we talk about sex and sexuality and sexual behavior in each country. We have people coming from the Philippines, they're coming from Colombia, they call them from Panama, they're coming from Thailand, you name it. We have people coming from all over, of course, the United States and Canada. And we have discussions. We have a doctor that comes from Jamaica, another one that comes from Cayman Islands. We talk. We discuss these things. We talk about the trends in the country, outside of the country, in the region. What are the trends? What are things people doing? Why are women developing faster now than before? Why are men developing breasts and their penis and scrotum are shrinking? These are the discussions that we have. Now, we have some scientific data and we have some things that we come up with on our own because we are educated enough to do that. And then the research comes to prove the things that you know. Because when you come and tell me something, I get that knowledge from you. But your interpretation of it and my interpretation of it may be two different interpretations. But if I get 10 persons like you with similar traits and similar patterns, and I get 10 bits of information from 10 different persons, I can take that 10 bit of information and pull it into one and get a pattern.
Okay.
You can't do that.
No, I can't.
But I could do it. So I could tell you about patterns in Trinidad and Tobago, patterns with human behavior, people's behavior in Mount Hololo. I could tell you about their behavior in Toko, because I would have dealt with persons in that particular area with particular things of a sexual nature.
Yeah.
Whether it be legal or illegal doesn't matter. I get the information that comes to me. My brain is bombarded and flooded with information. That's why when I'm finished with a therapy session, I'm tired, mentally tired. When I'm finished for the day, like, okay, when I do Princestown and Davie, I am mentally and physically tired because of the amount of things that you have to hear and deal with. I am not complaining. So don't feel I'm complaining. When you get all this information and you have to decipher how I can help this gentleman here, how I can help this woman there, there are persons who come to you and they don't understand their own sexuality and their own sexual behavior. Like I was watching this show where this guy, he's married, he belongs to a religious body, but he started having sexual feelings for men. And he couldn't understand why. And he started to flirt with men and want to be in the company of men as opposed to women or his wife. And he was pulling away from his wife and getting into the company of men naturally. So when he tried to analyze himself, he couldn't figure out what he was doing. Why am I suddenly attracted to men? But remember, your sexuality could blossom at any time. Your sexuality could blossom when you're 5 years of age, 8 years of age, 18 years of age, 28 years of age, 58 years of age. You might be bisexual, homosexual, straight, whatever sexual you are. But you don't really know it until it blossoms within you, and something could trigger it. As a young child, there are lots of things that comes into the child's domain that would trigger behavior. But if you notice, a child's attention span is not very long. So a child walks into a room, see a nice teddy bear, want the teddy bear to play with. 2 minutes after, he or she throws the teddy bear aside, and they no longer have a love for that. That's because the attention span is over a short period of time. It's the same thing with behavior. It's the same thing if some children will cry for no reason, and when they see that they get a lollipop as a gift or a bribe to stop crying, they'll start to cry later on to get the lollipop. It's learned behavior, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right. Same thing. When your sexuality is blossoming as a child, as a young man, a young woman, pre-teenage years, teenage years, it's what you do to fuel that will determine who you are later on. But there are things about yourself that you still don't know. So this young man who was in his 20s, married to this beautiful woman, suddenly had feelings for men. As a matter of fact, when he was having sex with his wife, he would think about men. And he couldn't understand what was happening. So someone had to impart that knowledge onto him and say, here, what? That is a late blossoming of your sexuality. How many of us has reached that position or have encountered that? I don't know. I know if you embrace these things at an early age, you know exactly who you are, what you're capable of doing,
And where you stand.
and where you stand as a person, as a human being. So let's see. Well, we got a lot of greetings in that short period of time.
Hey, this is Christmas time.
Samira she's in Florida, I know that. I see Navi, she's in New York, and I saw somebody else from New York on a while ago. Navi's in New York, beautiful young lady. Who else? Kenneth is watching. Anna is in Rio Claro, we know that. Desiree. Who did I see from? I saw my cousin. Yes, I saw my cousin, Trisha. Trisha, better known as Rika. Where is Trisha? She's in New York, for sure. Mikkel. Samira is in Florida. Claudia, Jenny. Lorna. Jenny again. Good night, Dr. Raj. Surjday, Samlal, Dave. Vashti. Good night, Sitaram from Trinidad. That's Sandy. Well said, Dr. Raj. Good night, Dr. Raj. Gayatri, Ricky. Know who Ricky that is. So he will know what I'm talking about. Rupa, Narad, Chennai, Jamie, Navisha, Tracy. Wow. Chanel, and okay. So, where was I? Remind me. So your development could come at any moment. There are things that could trigger you in your mind, your body, your behavior that you are unaware of, And that, it's not frightening, but it's something that you have to be aware of. Let's say, for example, you're married. Living with your husband, living with your wife, you're in your environment wherever you are. Mm-hmm. And because of your environment or the country that you live in, the laws that governs the country and whatnot, you behave in a particular way. But you take yourself and you go to a society or you go to a country where things are different. Like somebody tell me they were visiting a particular country where they have brothels and whatnot that are legal, and he was walking with a family member, and he automatically went into one of the brothels. The person turned and told him, "What you doing there?" But because he had the freedom to do that, which is unheard of in Trinidad, he just wanted to go and see. But he cannot tell his partner or his person that, "I just want to go and see." Because yet still, the person mindset is locked in Trinidad mode. That's why a lot of people go away and they don't educate themselves. They're still living in the past, or they're still living in Trinidad. Because I heard one or two persons talking recently, I think that was for Thanksgiving, about how Trinidad was 40 years ago when you couldn't get flour and right. I say, what Trinidad you talking about? We don't know about that. Well, I know about it because I remember those days when in 76 when there was no gasoline and people were using pitch oil to run their cars. But it doesn't make me less of a human being or less of a Trinidadian. Some people it makes them less of a human being. Yeah. Because they remember the bad things and they hold on to it. Now I only remember that because this person brought it up. But it is not important to me. I remember my father talking about ration card during the war. I don't think that defines my father. It didn't define who he was or who he became. When you had to go and line up in the back of a truck to get a little 2 pound of flour to make a little roti or dumpling or a bake.
Yeah, I remember.
But I ration card. Right.
About those days.
Exactly. Now, he will tell us stories about those days. The same thing I could tell people, where we were living, there was always a road that goes into the forest. Nobody could explain why there's a road that goes into the forest until one day my father, because we as children used to take that road and go into the forest and play. Until one day my father explained to me, when the siren went off, they were bombing. The army used to drive their trucks and cars and things into the forest. So that explains why there's a road going into the forest. And it's a dead end. But nobody could have told you that unless they saw it and they knew what it was about.
Yeah, they have to experience it.
Yes, well, my father experienced it. But the point, that is, for those who don't know, it is Moses Street in Sukram Village. Moses Street, Sukram Village. Moses Street goes straight into the forest. Well, they cut down the forest now and they built a health center there. So I know what they do with that road. One day I have to go and see what they do with that road. Anyway, so you could blossom sexually at a later stage in life or an early stage in life. How do you handle that? Who are you sexually? Are you straight, bisexual, gay? What are you? Now, some people swear on whatever holy book they want to swear on that they're straight. But they have had bisexual thoughts. They're bi-curious, but they're not willing to expose that about themselves because they feel that it makes them less of a human being. The very same way when somebody leaves Trinidad during the hard time. You remember when there was mass migration out of Trinidad in 1986, 87?
Oh, yeah.
And they went to Canada?
Yeah.
That's when they brought out the visa and all those things. And Sahari Basri made sure that was done.
Hold up on it a bit.
Right. Because people felt alienated. They felt as though Trinidad wasn't for them. As a matter of fact, there were people in South on a particular trace, Sutra trace, talking about independence. It was so stupid. There were people actually preaching independence for a trace. I don't know how many people remember that. But that doesn't define me as a Trinidadian. I have never looked at myself as living north of the Caroni River, so that makes me different from people south of the Caroni River. I'm a Trinidadian first and foremost. That is what true patriotism is.
Yeah.
That is what I was trying to explain. So, if you embrace that, and it starts with that, it starts with loving yourself, loving your country, loving your fellow man and woman. Well, you will think about a different love. I know that. I can see your face. I can see your face and I know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Then it comes to embracing your sexuality and who you are. Man, know thyself. Are you true to yourself? Do you really, or are you really who you say you are? So today I was talking to this young lady, and she don't know that there was something called female circumcision. She don't know that in African countries their culture is to cut off the vagina, the lips of the vagina and the clitoris on the vagina. And that is female circumcision, which is a nasty practice. And it's done because of religion, and it's done because of culture. It started off as a cultural thing, but it has become a religious cultural thing. Because things can merge.
So in other words, what they did was took it to another level.
They took it to another level. And I'll tell you the very same thing. In Hinduism in Trinidad, in Sanatan Dhara, there are lots of things that we do ritually that are not part of Hindu practice. But because they came to Trinidad, and because of rituals and because of behavior, it became part of the culture and part of the rituals. But it is not the most important thing or the important means of doing something. And those who just do what is prescribed, people look at them funny and say, I know how we just do it. But the way you just do it is not wrong, it is different.
Than what they are now.
Correct.
Anyway, folks, taking your time, it's now 15 minutes before 10 o'clock inside Sexplosion of this Friday evening with the only sexologist in the Caribbean, Dr. Raj of Total Image, and the Adult Therapy Center, which is located at St. Augustine. And there he treats all sexual dysfunctions in both male and female. Well, I'm going to take a break and we'll be right back with you. Stay tuned.
Associates, a company of trained health consultants specializing in natural and integrated medicine. At Batson Associates,
I thought you said you have no
help
advertisement.
people from an integrated and holistic perspective with various issues such as diabetes,
No, you're stopping me, man.
rheumatoid arthritis, and many more.
We're on your rule.
No, I just,
right here on Power 102 FM for preventative health solutions that will help you live a longer and healthier life. To book your consultation, call 314-9975 or 222-8261 to speak to one of their trained and health consultants. They are located on the first floor of Money Talk Building, Montrose, Chaguanas, with offices also at the corner of Ramwood Trace and SS Arian Road in D-Bay, Red Edge Mall on Western Main Road, St. James. And for Tobago listeners, you can visit the Triangle Building opposite Wassail. Batson & Associates specialize in natural and integrated therapy.
Just my size is the haven for full-figure girls. We're located 11 Eastern Main Road, Tuna Puna. There we have tops, dresses, jewelry, costume jewelry, hot Beyonce style. Where you going for the plus-size diva girls? Just my size.
Are the problems and destructive anxieties of today tearing you apart? If there was ever a time to readjust your priorities and refocus your vision, it's now. Join Pastor Wayne Sampson on the Vision of Hope devotional program every Monday from 5:30 to 6 a.m. right here on Power 102 FM. Jesus is the only one who can give you peace in the midst of today's storm.
I want to tell you that knowledge and experience, this is what it's all about when you are on the inside of Sexplosion on Power 102 FM with Sexologist Dr. Raj of Total Image and the Adult Therapy Center. Folks, don't forget our lines are open if you would love chatting with Dr. Raj. Very simple, 222-8255, also at 612-8255. If you do decide that you want to send him a text or a message, you can also do that on his private mobile, 740-1961. You can also send in your messages on our website at Power 102 FM. This program may contain material that is not suitable for children. Parental guidance are therefore advised. Yeah.
Let me give you a good example of something that is cultural and unique to Trinidad. Trinidadian males, when they meet one another, traditional East Indian, Sanatanist Hindu, when they meet one another, would shake hand like this. You ever notice that?
Yeah.
You know why that is? It's not to show strength and power like American handshake, you have to squeeze.
Yeah.
You know that?
Oh, you got it, yeah.
Americans, they like to squeeze to show strength and power.
Yeah.
In traditional Indian Trinidadian way is to, with humility, I'm offering you my hand and accepting your hand.
Okay.
That's what it is.
Many times I see people, they
the old people will shake hands like that. It's like bowing to the person.
Especially the older people.
The older people will do that. How many young persons practice that? And that is such a beautiful and wonderful thing. Not I squeeze your hand and show you how strong I am. That is an American thing.
American thing that when they...
It's okay, let me give you an example of the salute. Traditionally, where the salute came from was actually an Indian tradition. And the salute came like this, to show you I have no weapon against you.
From your forehead.
Yeah, your hands have to be like this, facing the person. I have no weapon against you. That's what a salute means. The Americans went like this, and they make it sharp, and they make it like if it's something, real special to them. But the meaning of it is I have no weapon against you.
But strange enough, right?
That's the meaning of it, How many persons in the military knows that?
It was strange enough that you mentioned that. Because many a times I've seen people, and I never really thought, well, what was the reason behind putting their hand around?
That is to show you that I have no weapon against you.
Yeah.
It was shown to the higher rank officers and whatnot. Now, afterwards, it became a means of showing respect and whatnot, but that's the original traditional meaning. The same thing, this is what I was telling about the young lady when she asked me about, she mentioned, when I mentioned female circumcision to her, she was like, no, that don't happen, we don't have a penis down here to cut. They cut off your clitoris, and they cut off the lips of the vagina. And as I said, it was traditional for some tribes in Africa to do that as a means to keep women subservient and not having sexual feelings. And then it became a religious practice in Islam for those very same tribes, and it blossomed out of those areas. And it became part of the tradition in places like Iraq and Egypt and whatnot, where you remove the clitoris and the lips of the vagina. It's called female circumcision. The most famous person to be circumcised that way is Imam. So, these are the things. That's why I tell, sometimes people make comments on Facebook and other places. Like today, somebody made a comment about something, about our last name for Indians and Hindus in Trinidad. But none of them who were making comments ever did any research. When you do research, you find out things about yourself, sometimes things that you don't like. But that is what research does. It opens up the world to you.
Okay, we have a caller on the line. Thank you for holding, and welcome to Sexplosion. Yeah, family.
Dr. Raj,
Yes, dear.
it's all the young people. A lot of people feel it's traumatic now. You say love somebody.
Of course you can. Love don't die with age. How could love die with age? Love does not die with aging. You become more mature and you make different decisions.
Because I never before, but just rather before.
But now you love somebody.
I don't know.
Well, love is a difficult thing to describe, If you ask somebody to describe love, it is difficult. But you can love someone regardless of your age. And that is something to ponder. Because you could fall in love the same way you could embrace your sexuality at any age. Or you could be aware of your sexuality from any age, like I said, from a child in the womb to any age, 85 years of age, 95 years of age. There are moments in your development as a child into manhood or womanhood that you will experience certain things, that will bring forth certain feelings, that will make you feel differently. If you are having sex with one person, how could you compare that with anybody else? You cannot. If you are having sex with multiple partners, you could compare one to the other. If you have had the experience with many persons, you could come to the conclusion about certain things. But if you have never done that, you have to stay myopic in your vision. You have to remain seeing things, with blinders.
Straight ahead.
And this is what we don't understand about human sexuality and human behavior. And I try my best through this program to get persons to open up their minds to different things. I'm not saying to go and practice it. I'm not saying to go and experiment. I'm not saying to be promiscuous and don't think about HIV and AIDS and STDs and STIs. I am not saying that. What I'm saying is that if you want to be a true individual to yourself, first of all, embrace who you are, embrace your sexuality and work on it. Develop who you are and don't let others develop it for you. And lots of times, people like to tell you how to behave. They like to tell you what to like and what to dislike, what you should like sexually. For example, if a person is so inclined, they will tell you, well, you should only have sex to get pregnant and have a child and nothing else. And they'll try to force you to think that way because that is their way of thinking. But that may not be the natural way of behavior.
Yeah, because apart from that, everybody's made up differently.
Well, right.
Everybody have their own way of thinking.
So when I was telling you about the gentleman who being married, loving wife, and suddenly he has feeling for men. There are a lot of men who will not come out openly and say, yes, I have thought about having sex with a man, because first of all, somebody will jump up and call, well, you're a homo or you're a faggot. They'll use all kind of derogatory names. But there are moments in our lives that we are faced with these things and we either push it in the background, throw it in a waste paper basket in our brain, or no, embrace that is who we are, not experience it. You're not running out there to experience it. You're looking for the ideal opportunity to experience it, and you may never find that ideal opportunity. Do you know that? You may be looking for the ideal opportunity to do it, and you may never find it. So you have embraced the fact that this is what I would like to experience. This is who I am, but I may never get the opportunity to do it. It's like saying I like to fly, I like to visit another country, but never get the opportunity to do it.
Okay, I follow you now.
So you live vicariously through what? Fantasies? Through your partner talking about things of a sexual nature? How many of you, when you're making love to your wife or your husband, talk about homosexuality as part of your foreplay? And I'm being very open here. How many of you have ever done that? A lot of persons will not even admit to thinking about that. But if your partner is understanding, she will allow you to do that. She will allow it to be part of the sexual foreplay or interplay while you're actually having sex. And she will see your body's reaction and what is happening to you. And it becomes wonderful. The sex becomes nice. So the nasty talk during sex, what you call pillow talk during sex, is the best thing since sliced bread. Like, I see somebody put up on Facebook, the sandwich was invented in 1928 and sliced bread was invented in 1928, but sandwich was invented long before that. It is true. They didn't slice bread, the boss opened bread, put meat in it and carry it to the Earl of Sandwich, and that's where the name sandwich came about. Yeah, I think it was 1759 or somewhere there. In England. That's how sandwich came about. It was invented for the Earl of Sandwich because he was a gambler and he was sitting around a table gambling and he was hungry and he wanted food. And in those days you eat bread and meat. And he told his people, the tavern people, and things, put the meat in the bread. And the boss opened the bread, put the meat in the bread and brought it. And that's how the sandwich was born. That's the story of sandwich. I don't know why people don't read trivia. Trivia is such a wonderful experience. It teaches you so much.
It educates you.
Yeah. So let's see. I have something to announce here before I get in trouble. Now offering our Pop a Balloon promotion where customers who spend $200 and over get to pop a balloon. I hope it's not condom. And receive huge discounts for their purchase. This is at Dr. Raj Adult Boutique, by the way.
No, for a minute.
In Davie at Princestown.
For a minute, they had me beaten.
Promotion now ongoing at all Dr. Raj's adult boutiques. Private shopping now available at both Davie and Princestown. Oh yeah, I have to tell people that. Davie and Princestown is now doing private shopping.
Private shopping.
Yes.
But let me ask you.
First of all, it was only Davie.
Yeah, you're speaking in terms of.
You come.
Bursting the balloon. No.
Oh, bursting the balloon?
Yeah. No, what?
You mean a pinprick?
Yeah.
No, you're supposed to prick a balloon to burst it.
But of course, yes. You have to, and especially if you can't stand up for it, you're in trouble. Yeah, but what you have to do that will entitle you to burst a balloon.
Spend $200 and more. Spend $200 and more, and you could prick the balloon and see what prize you get in it. I think it's a percentage discount off your purchase.
Yeah. But you know, that's a
No, I didn't come up with that idea, and I find that the The young lady who came up with the idea, it's a fantastic idea. That's why I like my workers to come up with idea, and I like my workers to tell me things. And I listen to them. I'm not the kind of boss who don't listen.
No,
I listen to them, I listen to them and tell them to go ahead and try it. So, Princestown and Debia, you can call and make your appointment to shop after hours, before hours, or on Sundays and public holidays. If you call 366-5843, that is for Debia. 366-5843. And for Princestown, it's 770-8700. Just call, make an appointment, and go in and do your private shopping. You could carry a significant other or others, and fix up. Somebody say I'm the king of trivia. I like to think so. I love trivia. I've been reading trivia ever since. Sometimes there are things that trick out my mind, and I remember something that I read in trivia.
Yeah.
I just read it. And I learned that from Mr. Decent. Mr. Decent, who was an educator in Sangre Grande,
I always say
was a good friend of my grandfather. My first teaching job my father got was at his high school.
Okay.
And my father's first pay came from Mr. Decent. I forget how much dollars it was, a few dollars, I think $12 or something.
And Mr. Decent, he's still alive today.
No, he died.
He passed on.
But he was an educator par extraordinaire.
Yeah.
He was a fantastic educator. But he would visit our home from time to time. As a matter of fact, every time he came to Sangre Grande, he would come to our store and visit with my father because my grandfather had died. And he would always make mention that about this thing with, if you see a piece of paper blowing on the road, pick it up, read it. There's information in that for you. Don't just pick it up and throw it in the bin. But it is not the piece of paper that is blowing on the road. And what he meant is that every opportunity that you have to read.
Okay, yeah, because
that's what I took from it.
Yes, because how you mentioned it just now, a couple of seconds ago, it makes one put themselves in a position where, boy, you're too fast.
No. People could call you fast for knowledge. There was a book my father had, and I wish I could find that book, called The Little Known Facts About Well-Known People. And there were little facts about all these famous people throughout the world.
Yeah.
And I used to read that book religiously over and over and over. And there are things from that book stuck in my mind from then till now. And I read that when I was about 10, 11, 12 years of age. The same thing with the Kama Sutra. I read the Kama Sutra when I was 11. Didn't understand a single thing. I'm not going to sit here and say I understood it. I did not. I reread it and reread it and reread it until I was about 13 and a half years. And then I finally understood what the whole thing was about. That instruction is love is not what people think it is.
So they have a whole different concept on
Yeah, they have a different concept if you just breeze through it, but it's not what people think it is.
Anyway, folks, taking a turn 2 minutes after 10 o'clock. Don't forget, all the lines are open. If you would love chatting with Dr. Raj, we are taking sex education where it has never been before, exclusively on a station that's reliable and effective. Power 102 FM. 222-8255, also at 612-8255. If you do decide that you want to send him a WhatsApp or a text message of your question, that can also be done on his private mobile at 740-1961. You can also send in your messages on our website at Power 102 FM.
Pleasant good evening to Nichelle, Narad, Suraj Day, of course we call her Jenny again, Sunja, Melly. Ooh, Melly. You know who Melly is, right? Ramesh. Why do I always have to tell you that, boy?
No,
anyway, forget it. Ravi, Ronaldo,
Anytime you mention a name with a smile,
Melissa. I hope nobody gets angry because I spoke of Melly, but she has a special place in our heart. And if I say that, you're supposed to know who it is. In our heart, she has a special place. Melissa, Leslie Ann, Rowan, Swanky, Oscar, Latanya, Farina, they're all on. If I say somebody have a special place in our heart, you have to think.
The number one person I would think of, but they're not.
No, it's not the number one, number two.
Okay. Yeah.
No, not number one, number two.
No, I got number two.
All right.
And she speaks well on
Right. Yeah. Give me a 5. You're brilliant, you know.
I know that.
I have to tell people you're getting smarter, don't worry.
What? I hit number 1 and number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you can't ask for more than that.
Anytime you could do that, you should get a raise in pay, man.
You inside.
No, you should get a raise in pay.
Yeah.
Yeah, talk to management for you. That guy need a raise in pay. He has hit number 1 and 2.
Yeah, one
Jackpot.
Yeah. No, but they're very close, huh? When you come to the finishing line. But I'll give number
It's
1.
a close.
I'll give number
It's a
1.
close finish, but number 1 will always be
Yeah.
number 1. There's no other number 1.
I would think so. as well.
But it's close. It could be neck and neck, you know. So it will be just by the snout or the nose or the nose ring.
Number 2 must be finishing. Number 2 must be finishing like a bullet on the outside then.
Well, you know, she came up very fast.
Yeah.
Farishta is always. Farisha is also. And I thought it was Farishta. I know Farishta also. Let's see. So where were we? I lost track. Talking too much as stupidness. I lost track. You see, that is what co-host is supposed to do. Take back your pay. Don't management forget giving him a raise of pay. A co-host is supposed to bring the host back on track.
No, but the thing about it is
That is why you have a pen and paper and you're supposed to be making notes.
but you're giving me so much facts and so fast that I can't keep up with you sometimes.
I can't keep up with myself sometimes. Honestly.
You rattle things off in a good sense. When I say rattle,
No, I know I do rattle off things because so many things
you
flood
do
my
something-
mind at the same time.
Yeah.
No, I know. That is something like when I'm giving a lecture. Sometimes I have to speak slowly, especially if it's overseas.
And pace yourself.
Take a deep breath and pace myself. And sometimes something will fly into my mind. Like for example, I was talking about threesomes recently, and why people get into threesomes and what are the do's and don'ts about getting into threesomes and is it beneficial to you and all that. And things were just flooding my mind because of past experiences and whatnot. And I have to mash brakes and pull those things out and continue with the talk.
But I'm glad you mentioned that. And you're speaking in terms, you just mentioned threesomes. What are some of the satisfactions that people who participate in threesomes get?
First and foremost, you get to experience something different. You have an additional body, physical body, whether it's male or female, I'm not going to get into that. That your chemistry with that person would be different at the moment. It would be a temporary chemistry that could develop into something permanent or could be develop into something stronger than it is at the moment. There is a whole range of fantasies that you are experiencing with that situation. There is a participatory part of you that will allow you to do things with that person that you wouldn't normally do. And there is an observatory part of you that will cause you to watch that person interacting with your partner, whether it be male or female. So there are a number of things that affects the sensory organs of the human being. So when it is affecting the sensory organs, which is sight, hearing, tasting, smelling and touch, in that short period of time, the excitement moves from this level to a very high level, and your control of that is where it tests you as a human being. Lots of time people get involved in a threesome and think it's about them. But if you think about a threesome as about us and about you two, you enjoy yourself more, because then they will also be thinking about you two, which involves you, because you have two persons thinking about you two.
But as a sex,
You understand what I mean?
Yeah, I follow you. But as
But I
a
wonder how
sex-
many people out there follow me.
As a sex-
If you don't follow me, ask the question.
As a sexologist, does jealousy plays a what are the percentage of jealousy during a threesome?
Well, if you are in the agreement of a threesome and you're all for it and you're open-minded enough, jealousy will not be an important factor. Jealousy may come in if you're telling yourself your partner is too involved. But if you understand the concept that your partner is so involved because it is something new, but that does not mean to say he or she will love you less after. As a matter of fact, they would love you more because they allow you to have this experience. And they're sharing in the experience.
The reason I ask this, I have heard a lot of people that was involved in a threesome and their partner fell for the other person.
That is where you have weakness of an individual. That is where the strength of your relationship is not as strong as you think it is. And you were not fulfilling something in your partner, and having this opportunity, your partner realized that they could get whatever they need fulfilled from someone else. But a lot of time, they fall for the other person, and the other person have more control over them than anything else, and doesn't allow them the freedom to do the things that they would have done with their first partner. So it is a catch-22.
More than a catch.
The grass is always greener on the other side, until you get to the other side and you realize the grass was really greener on the side that you were at first.
Because I have heard people say, hey, look, family I was involved in a threesome, but the partner, he was doing, let's put it in Trinidad now. The partner was doing better than me, and I felt the pressure.
It obviously, if you go to measure yourself, and you want to compare yourself to the other person, you are going to end up with that, because you are going to falter. But the other person may falter too.
Because what they were saying is that when their partner was with the other,
they behave differently.
Yeah, they were
But of course
enjoying themselves.
More, of course, Junior, oh God, it is common. You see, this is where people don't apply common sense. If you have a partner and both of you having sex for 10 years, don't you feel you will get fed up and she will get fed up at you at some point in time, right? And I come in the picture now and I start making love to your partner, right? She is going to explore with feelings and emotions and different way of doing things because it is somebody new. Obvious. That is obvious. That is just obvious. And if you start to compare that, it's like you're doing yourself a disservice by comparing yourself to the person, because the excitement is seeing your partner with somebody else. That is what a threesome is. That is what a threesome is.
Yeah, but
if you limit your not everybody could do a threesome.
That's a hard pill to swallow. That is a hard pill to swallow.
Not everyone could do a threesome. They tell themselves they could. But a lot of persons, a lot of people, a lot of couples cannot handle it mentally. They think they could. When they're horny and they're hot, they say yes.
But when they get involved,
and they see what the reality is, they can't. So it is a mental conditioning to get into this. If you don't have that, you're not going to be successful. If you don't have that open mind, a lot of people say they have an open mind, but they're not open. A lot of persons, I've seen so many persons come to me and say, I have an open mind, I go do this, I'll do that. And when given the opportunity, they can't perform, They cannot perform.
Yeah. I tell you.
So it is not an easy road.
You better believe it. Anyway, folks, taking our time, 4 minutes after 10 o'clock, inside this Friday night of Sexplosion on Power 102.1 FM. The guru of sex education, Dr. Raj of Total Image and the Adult Therapy Center, which is located on St. Augustine Road. There he treats all sexual dysfunctions in both male and female. Don't forget our lines are open, 222-8255, also 612-8255. This program may contain material that is not suitable for children. Parental guidance are therefore advised.
I have to read this, but I have to read it in code. Let me see. You all make me so glad when I had my threesome. I was with neither of the parties. I never thought of all those complications. This explains it perfectly. If you have a threesome that does not involve your significant other, and it involves two neutral people, it is much different than a threesome that involves your significant other. Because then you'll be looking at your significant other to see his or her behavior, and you'll be comparing yourself to the third party.
Exactly.
So this person explains it perfectly.
Yeah.
I can't go into anything.
You can't go in. You can't go deeper. You might drown there. Anyway, Anyway, folks,
PPS, behave yourself.
Anyway, folks, taking return 15 minutes after 10 o'clock, Sexplosion, on this Friday night with Sexologist Dr. Raj of Total Image and the Adult Therapy Center. We're going to take a break and
PPS stump me here, you know.
and we'll be right
This comment
back
she made here.
with you. Stay tuned.
The comment she made there after
Introducing Izzo. News travels fast.
I read in trivia since I was a little child.
Fast-paced world.
And it's one thing to read trivia, but retaining trivia is a difficult thing.
Making critical decisions in your life. Izzo is the Caribbean's newest and most
sell
innovative
magazine
news
at 7 years
source,
old,
giving you a
they sell-
Caribbean perspective.
I don't know what you're talking about, you know.
Crime, business,
I lock up, you know.
entertainment,
In some countries, I lock up, you know. Big brother watching, you know.
Izzo, ICCSO. Izzo, your information source.
Yeah.
Designed for your lifestyle. Download the Izzo app for
I don't
iOS
want
and
to hear.
Android devices. And visit our website at www.izzo.com. Izzo. News travels fast.
Power 102 invites you to divine inspiration, your guide to the way, the truth, and the light. Be inspired by powerful
You have a program?
inspirational preachers and transformational testimonials.
For what?
Divine Inspiration, Mondays to Thursdays, 9 p.m. to midnight on Power 102 FM and streaming live via the Power 102 app. Tune in to Divine Inspiration and be
And what people are
transformed.
saying is that they're so tired of the regular Christmas music that this is different. So he's still speaking about
Dr. Raj the guru of sex in the Caribbean.
There is an equation between chocolate and sex. There is a formula created by the Aztecs when it comes to chocolate and sex. How many people know that?
The country's most informative sex education program is Sexplosion.
You can't tell me you know how you're going to feel having two persons make love to you when you have never done that.
Sexplosion with the angel.
Sexplosion. Fridays at 9 p.m. Sexplosion. Exclusively on Power 102. Empowering you.
Well, I can tell you that when it comes to nighttime radio and sex education, we are always one step ahead. You are on the inside of Sexplosion and Power to FM Sexologist Dr. Raj. Our lines are open if you would like chatting with him live here in studio. And it's very simple. All you've got to do is give him a call at 222-8255. Also at 612-8255. Now, some of you don't like hearing yourself on air, so if you wish, you can also send him a text or message on his private mobile at 740-1961. You can also send in your messages on our website at Power 102 FM.
Now, I see people making comment about threesome, but I wonder if they have ever experienced one. Don't make comment about things that you have not done. And I'll tell you why. What you have conjured up in your brain is not reality. Reality is only when you have.
This is a thing
Maybe
that
they
you have
will.
to discuss before getting involved. You don't jump into
No,
it.
you don't get involved in a threesome unless you have discussed it and come to an agreement and have safe words and all those things. So I asked the question, who have experienced a threesome truthfully? You're making comments about it, but have you ever experienced one? Don't make comments on something you haven't experienced. You know, I hear people making comments about the same thing. They go away, they make comments about Trinidad, but they don't know what's happening in Trinidad. It's only what they read on the news. So one person was telling me, why, how you surviving in Trinidad, boy? So many people getting killed. I say, yeah, but I just go all about anywhere I want to go. I don't be afraid. Oh, you have guards? You have? I say, no. I walk around on my own. I doesn't come here. You ever see me come here with anybody except the angels?
No.
Right. But people have their own concept of things based on their perception and not reality. Reality in sex is different from perception, you know. For example, you might be looking at a porn and seeing a person in a particular sexual act and they enjoy themselves and say, oh God, I would like to try that, boy. And the day you go to try that, you pull a muscle, you damage your back, you realize it's not for you, you realize that position not giving you any pleasure because that is the reality of the position.
Yeah.
is not what you see. You could be visually fooled. How many times persons have said, I've seen that with my own two eyes, and it is not what they see.
Oh yes, that's oh yeah.
That's why now, even eyewitness accounts are not even accepted in some places. DNA might prove differently. So, you know, when it comes to thing of a sexual nature, why I am so successful as a sexologist internationally, not Trinidad, internationally, is because of my experiences. And it's because of what I could relate to in any country that I go to. I hear people talking about things that they would like to do, or things that they would, particular topics that they would like to get involved in. And I did all that before I was 20. And I look at them and say,
What do you say anything about it?
no, what I'm saying, I'm not saying it in a boastful way. But I could talk about it because I've done it.
Yes, because you see, the reason for that is that at a tender age, you know what you wanted to do.
But I see people making comments about things now that they have never experienced. So how could you make a comment, an informed commentary about something that you have not experienced? What are you saying it based on? Hearsay? Are you saying it based on somebody telling you so?
Well, it have to be that way.
No, you can't.
No, you can't.
You have to experience it. Sex is about experience. Sex is not theoretical.
Because I'll tell you something. You might
That's why a theoretical individual as a sexologist does not make it. Because he or she will know what is the theory behind something, but not what is practical.
You might have someone who have doubts about something, as you rightfully mentioned, and then when they experience it, they tell themselves, boy, I never know this would have been so good. I never expected
Correct.
this. I never expected this to go this way.
Correct. But when you finally come to the realization that what I have seen, hearing, and reading is theoretical.
Right.
Because when you watch a porn, you get a theory out of that. Because you feel that is what reality is. When you hear somebody tell you about something, an experience or whatever, it is theoretical. When you read something, it is theoretical. When you actually go out there and do it, and you may do it the first time and fail. How many successful individuals has failed when they started? Even things of a sexual nature. They have done it at the beginning and failed sexually. And they try it again, and they realize that this is where I made my mistake. You learn from your mistakes. And now you are in a situation to experience it differently, with a different person, in a different situation, and it is fantastic. So are you going to condemn yourself because of the 3 failures that you have, or the 1 success? What are you going to do? Are you going to say, because of this 1 success, it is fantastic, and it will always be like this? Or maybe it will be like this sometime, and maybe it will be like this sometime. Be fair to yourself. It's never 100%. It's like getting a nice hard erection in the morning, having sex, the best sex you ever had, and next morning you wake up in anticipation I'm going to have the best sex, and you went to sleep 3 o'clock in the morning, get up 5 or 6 anticipating sex, and you have no morning erection.
I want to continue that we are giving our listeners what they want and expect from a good radio program when it comes to sex education every Friday evening right here on Power 102.1 FM with the guru of sex education, Dr. Raj of Total Image and the Adult Therapy Center. Just to remind you once again that if you would love chatting alongside Dr. Raj, very easy. All you've got to do is give him a call at 222-8255, also at 612-8255. If you do decide that you want to send him a text message, a private message, you can also do that on his private mobile at 740-1961. Due to the mature subject of this program, parental guidance are therefore advised.
Pleasant good evening to Vindel. You know, he has always been a listener from way back when.
Yeah.
Hans Raj, Tom, Mikkel, Galen, Daniel, Kirat, Indu, and Shivan. Nice names.
Yeah.
I like unusual names because my name is very unusual.
Especially when you're making love, right?
Rishi, no, nobody has ever called me by that name when I'm making love.
No.
Ever.
No?
Never. People can't pronounce it under normal circumstances. They pronounce it during sex.
No. No, well, they look for
Under normal circumstances, people can't pronounce that name.
I could imagine. How much? Yeah. So,
Rishi in London is locked on.
okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I know what you tried there, you know.
Oh boy, I tell you. Yeah.
You're telling me what?
Oh boy. Great. Anyway, folks, taking our time 25 minutes after 10 o'clock, Sexplosion on Power 102.1 FM. I'll tell you, and I can tell you, we do practice what we preach with a beautiful blend of educating you what sex is all about every Friday right here on Power 102.1 FM with the guru of sex education, Dr. Raj. I'll tell you what we are going to do 26 minutes after 10 o'clock. We're going to take a break and we'll be right back with you. Stay tuned.
Introducing Izzo. News travels fast. In today's fast-paced world, access to accurate, up-to-date information 24/7 is essential to making critical decisions in your life. Izzo is the Caribbean's newest and most innovative news source, giving you a Caribbean perspective on politics, crime, business, sport, entertainment, technology, and special investigative features. Izzo. IZZSO. Izzo, your information source, designed for your lifestyle. Download the Izzo app for iOS and Android devices. And visit our website at www.izzo.com. Izzo. News travels fast.
Are the problems and destructive anxieties of today tearing you apart? If there was ever a time to readjust your priorities and refocus your vision, it's now. Join Pastor Wayne Sampson on the Vision of Hope devotional program every Monday from 5:30 to 6 a.m. right here on Power 102 FM. Jesus is the only one who can give you peace in the midst of today's storm.
All-inclusive Saturdays on Power 102 FM with the best music and personalities to power your day, all day on a Saturday. Sir Charles, Bass, DJ Maggie, Gayland, and the ultimate DJ Shane. All-inclusive Saturdays on Power 102 FM. Saturdays from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. all day on a Saturday on Power 102, empowering you.
Well, folks, taking our time 28 minutes after 10 o'clock, the magic of sex education exclusively on a station that's reliable and effective. Your number one all around the station. Sexplosion with Sexologist Dr. Raj of Total Image and the Adult Therapy Center. Don't forget our lines are open if you love chatting with a doctor or if you would love to chat with Dr. Raj. It's very simple. You can give him a call right now in the studio at 222-8255. 612-8255. Yeah.
Somebody sent me a request here, but I can't read it.
A request?
Yeah, a request.
Does it deal with 3?
No. It deals with 1.
1.
Not me, you know.
No, I know.
Not me.
I know.
Not me. Before I start thinking outside of the box, I have to make that very clear.
Because I was thinking inside of the box.
Junior, I know you too well.
No.
Too well.
No.
Let's see, where are we? Are you getting enough questions, man? Where are the questions? What are the questions tonight?
There's certain people that I was expecting to hear you call, but I haven't heard them tonight. So.
Like who?
Our regular who calls all the time. What's her name? She don't miss a program.
Easy?
Yeah.
Easy's on.
Easy's on.
Yeah, Easy's on.
Okay.
Easy's on. I just didn't acknowledge her.
Okay. No, because I know you usually give me initials during the night that we spend.
Well, I did call out PPS, but you missed that.
PPS.
You went straight over your head.
Oh, yeah, that went.
At least she heard it.
She did.
Yeah, she heard it. I'm sure she heard it.
Hey, I want to say a very special night and greetings to the staff at the different branches. Total Image Dental Therapy Center, baby. One
In Princess Town. Dr. Raj Boutique.
Right, and Grand Bazaar. But there's so many people I have to meet.
You do.
So
A pleasant good evening, gentlemen. Thank you for all the knowledge. You're welcome. That's what knowledge is about. Knowledge is the only thing when you share it, you don't lose it. It multiplies. It multiplies because then you will get a bit of knowledge that you can pass on to somebody else.
Yeah.
And that's why I like to go to lectures and whatnot and listen to people when they have their knowledge and they share their knowledge. I like sitting around the round table in Las Vegas at our favorite restaurant where we go to have dinner. All the doctors are sitting there and we are discussing things.
And how many silvers are dressed?
Well, we don't look at that really. The food is fantastic. Oh, the food is fantastic. In Chinatown, oh. That food is just fantastic, and we'll order up a storm and we'll sit around the table and we'll have discussions on many different topics. And then people will share their knowledge. And then as a sexologist, they'll ask me for my input as a sexologist. There will be a virologist, there'll be a heart specialist, cancer, endocrinologist, and you name it. They're all sitting around the table. There is one.
But apart from that too.
And some beautiful ladies and gentlemen.
Nice ladies, yeah?
Oh yeah.
But apart from that, you get the different cultures of the different countries. Because when you take it to...
You get that too.
You from Trinidad.
You get that too. And one thing that I've found that, Indian culture with eating with your fingers, with certain foods, changes the taste of the food. And it energizes the food when you touch food. A lot of people don't realize that or don't know that. But when you touch food, you energize the food.
Okay.
That's why in Sanatan Dharma they teach you to eat with your fingers. Use your fingers to eat. So it is not an archaic and ancient practice. And now I find myself doing more of that. I could eat with a knife and fork, I could eat with a chopstick, I could eat with any instrument. But I find myself using my fingers more because I know the energy and I realize the taste of the food and what happens.
Oh, okay. There's a difference.
If you pick up a piece of vegetable with a fork and put it in your mouth and savor the taste and pick up that very same piece of vegetable with your finger, you'll get two different tastes. But you have to be aware of yourself and your spirituality and who you are.
Oh.
So some people may look at it as a practice of it being coolish, for the want of a better word.
So
but I'll tell you something. There are restaurants in New York City that are teaching people to use their fingers to eat. No. They're teaching them, if you want to energize your food, if you want your food to taste sweeter and better, use your fingers. Not the knife and fork.
Yeah, but then again, it all depends on what... Well, you're speaking in terms of Indian delicacies, right?
No, Indian food.
Indian food.
When you come and what you just eat with? And you use your fingers?
Yeah.
Well, right. Don't you use your fingers to use the roti and...
yeah.
Well, right. That is eaten Indian style.
Oh, okay.
That's what you're doing. That's why you like the food on Diwali night. It tastes so fantastic because you're using your fingers. Try doing that with other foods and you'll see.
Well, I can visualize that, I can visualize something like that happening. That the food will taste different. But a knife and fork as...
It does. Because you are energizing the food. It's not a concept. Now if you start studying, again, the five senses, what happens, the role that it plays and whatnot, and you understand that, you understand the sun energy, you understand you as a person and the power that you have. That's why when you're making love to someone, the touch, the sense of touch is far greater than all the other senses, because if your penis is not touching that vagina, or the penis is not touching an anus, or a vagina is not touching a vagina, or the lips is not touching another lip, it does not give you the same sensation. When that sense of touch comes in, which is inclusive of taste now, because if you're sucking tongue or kissing or whatever, you energize yourself. That's why it's a circle. You create that circle every time you're making love. That energy circle, you pass in energy into the person. You can pull the energy off of someone and make them very tired. You could do that also. That's part of Tantra, my friend. Tantra. Tantric sex.
Interesting.
Well, it's good to, again, that is not trivia, that is reality. When you come to the realization of these things, okay, if you put on clothing, have on gloves, a hoodie, mask and whatever, and make love, it's a different sensation than if you're naked, right? Now, you have intercourse or you have sexual practices that involve vinyl, leather, the feel of leather. But if you notice, both parties don't be laying leather at the same time, you know. One party will have on vinyl and something else, and the other person could touch it and feel it and get a sense over their hand, and the other person is feeling it on their skin inside. So it's the sense of touch. But if you eliminate the sense of touch, hearing, seeing, tasting, sex is no fun.
No.
Sex is nothing.
Just a blue.
Yeah. It's even as good as a quickie.
No. Whatever quickie you might have.
And all other people are going to experiment tonight and try to eliminate the senses, and they will realize how wonderful sex is with the senses.
A lot of people will experiment tonight, you're saying, yeah?
Oh yeah. After this program, when I leave here shortly, how come we lost that?
Nothing. You could be. You could.
Okay. I didn't realize we lost that.
No. Yeah.
Until I looked. When
you least expected, you lost it.
You wasn't expecting it when you lost it.
When you don't know, or when you're there, you sit back and you tell yourself, wait, I lost it. So, and once you lost it,
what happens?
You cannot come back to the original, and you have to.
No. Once that gone, it gone.
You have to be born again. See you. Anyway, folks, taking your time to 20 minutes before we never come out. I tell you, nobody does better what we do best when it comes to sex education. We are taking it to a whole new level, and we did get your attention, did we? Well, it's always nice having you. Sexplosion every Friday evening, right here on Power 2.1 FM, with the only sexologist in the Caribbean, Dr. Raj of Total Image, and the Adult Therapy Center, which is located out at St. Augustine. Folks, as mentioned, all lines are open if you would love chatting with Dr. Raj. Anything sexual that might be bothering you. And you know for a fact, sometimes you have something on your mind that is sexual that you need to get an answer to. Well, I can tell you, this is the place to be. Right here on Power 2.1 FM, Sexplosion. All you've got to do, as mentioned, 222-8255, 612-8255. You can also send him a private message or text on his private mobile if you don't want to hear yourself on air, 740-1961. Yeah.
Hi guys, this is John. I have a question for Dr. Raj. What's the average length of a penis of a 10-year-old boy? My son does not seem to be growing at all. The average size of a penis for a 10-year-old would be between 2 3/4 and 3.4 inches. But that's the average size. But if you're looking at it in the flaccid state, there is no average size in the flaccid state, because there may be a lot of fatty tissue of a 10-year-old boy. Some 10-year-old boy may be showers and they're not growers. Some may be grower. So it all depends on the person. But if you suspect that the scrotum and the penis of your child is not developing, that might be a good suspicion, and you may need to take that person to a medical practitioner, or you could bring him to the sexologist, and we deal with it. But there's not much you can do for a 10-year-old. What you have to do is change the diet, get the person into doing more things to help them, exercise-wise and whatnot. And when they reach that age where you can actually compare growth, then you start dealing with it.
Okay.
A lot of parents bring their young sons to me for that reason, because there seem to be an underdevelopment of penis with young men for some reason.
Then again, we come up again with the fast food.
I'm not going to blame it on one thing. I'm just going to leave it at that. There are lots of reasons for it. There's a young lady who have a back injury. I wish her well. I hope she's getting rest. I hope she has warmth on her back. And she's not doing anything on her back that she's not supposed to be doing.
I wonder how she got it.
Eh?
How
would I know?
She was in an accident?
How would I know?
No, because I know we deal with positions here a lot.
She just told me
Yeah.
that she has a back injury.
Back injury.
And I know a young lady, a beautiful young lady, I must say,
Another back
who has a chest injury. But I know how she got that one.
Oh. Yeah, well, weight plays an important part, eh? Sometimes.
No, it had nothing to do with weight.
Okay.
She don't lift weights, she don't carry around weight, she don't deal with weights. No, she don't deal with weights, she don't carry around. You see, you don't listen to what I'm saying. She don't carry around weights.
Oh, she don't. So what caused the chest pain?
She overworked herself.
Overwork. Oh, she was lifting up boxes?
Hmm?
Couldn't you,
She was lifting up something else.
okay. We'll leave it as that.
Dr. Raj, this is Rohan. I had a threesome years ago with my ex-husband and another female, and I agree fully with what you said. Unless you're confident with yourself and partner, then it is a fun thing. If not, well, that's where things can get out of hand. I was lucky that my ex was just like me, and we tried lots of different things together, so we knew what we liked and didn't like. Excellent. And that is from a lady by the name of Rohan.
And that is what you discussed.
And I don't know who Rohan is, so don't ask me. She sent her name.
She just sent her name.
Yeah, well, she sent her name with the message.
Yeah.
You know, you're the kind of person to ask us a question. So, I'm making it very clear.
So you was expecting me to ask you.
I
your
know you were going to
answer,
ask,
right?
is she a beautiful lady? Is she young? If she have any sister? How much dogs she have? How much? Look,
Yeah, but you never saw her before, right?
I don't know who she is.
Okay. Then you had to ask the dog, because sometimes when you jump the gate, you have to jump back.
Yeah, boy. You ever do that?
Yeah.
I was bitten by a dog once. Well, I wouldn't say bitten, but when the dog realized it was me, it stopped, but it already ripped my pants. And would you believe, over the last week on Thanksgiving Day, I was bitten by my friend's dog. And on the Sunday, I was bitten by my niece's dog. 2 dogs in one weekend.
But my grandmother would have said you have sweet blood over.
I don't know. And the funny thing about it, the dog is a fierce dog. Eh? I went to sit down. Animals love me. The dog came and sat on my lap to watch TV.
Sat on your lap?
Sat on my lap. And I was playing with the dog and petting him and whatnot. It's only when I go to get up, he throw a bite at me. What you getting up for? Sit down there.
Well,
The other one, well, he just crazy. He knows me from the time he born. I walked into the apartment. I was about to walk in the apartment. He find I shouldn't walk in front of my niece. I guess. Jump up and bit me. Like, what wrong with these dogs?
Which one? I mean, you have nice blood, though.
I think it's the blood, you know.
Yeah, I think you have nice blood.
I got to change my blood. Anybody out there willing to exchange some blood?
I'm sure you have a lot of donors.
I'll give them mine and they'll give me theirs.
Anyway, folks, taking our time, 16 minutes before 11 o'clock, and you are on the inside of Sexplosion. Now, for those of you who are listening to Sexplosion for the very first time, Sexplosion is featured here on Power 102 FM every Friday evening from 9, exclusively on a station that's reliable and effective, with the only sexologist in the Caribbean, Dr. Raj, Brandon, and Total Image. Yeah.
So these are the things that could happen at a moment's notice, and you're not prepared for it. It wasn't bad though. I was able to handle it well.
You was?
Yeah.
Well, I know.
You know what? What you know?
With your credentials. I know you're capable.
Dog don't read, you know. I never see a dog say, let me see your credential before I bite you, you know.
Yeah. No, but there are some dogs like that. Yeah? No, there are some dogs.
PPS, stop it.
Yeah.
Stop it, unless it is yours. Huh. I think somebody found that on you today. And you know what I'm talking about. I wouldn't go into details. But somebody found that on you today. Boy, I have to be careful what I say, you know.
Yeah, you have to be careful. You never know.
You'll get in trouble, boy.
You're getting big time too, eh?
How big?
Big trouble, man.
What, I know how big? Things to make you go,
Things that make you go.
Ah, yes. So,
okay, folks, taking what time we're going to take our last break at
we are?
15 minutes before 11 o'clock. Sexplosion on Power 102 FM with the guru of sex education, Dr. Raj. We're going to take a break and we'll be right back with you. Stay tuned.
And destructive anxieties of today tearing you apart? If there was ever a time to readjust your priorities and refocus your vision, it's now. Join Pastor Wayne Sampson on the Vision of Hope devotional program every Monday from 5:30 to 6.
I'm losing it, boy. I'm losing it.
On Power 102 FM. Jesus.
I say I'm losing it. I'm burning it, boy. This one I actually got up tired. That don't happen to me.
All-inclusive Saturdays on Power 102 FM with the best music and personalities to power your day, all day on a Saturday. Sir Charles, Bass, DJ Maggie, Gayland, and the ultimate DJ Shane. All-inclusive Saturdays on Power 102 FM. Saturdays from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. all day on a Saturday on Power 102, empowering you.
Well, we welcome you back to Sexplosion on Power 102.1 FM with Dr. Raj, the only sexologist in the Canada. Yo.
Hi, Dr. Raj. What can cause someone when having sex, the erection just lasts for about 5 minutes? That's a sexual dysfunction. It could be related to ED or low hormones in a person. You know, I met this interesting guy flying out of Trinidad. We were having some discussions, and you know, I like when I go on board a plane, I always introduce myself to the person next to me. The reason for that is that you don't know what could happen on a flight, and you like to know that the person who's sitting next to you, at least you know their name. So you could turn and say, Junior boy, I'm not feeling well, or Junior boy, you're not kind of fright. No, Junior boy, something like that. So after introducing myself to him, we were having a lively discussion about things, and about an hour or two into the discussion, he said, I don't normally talk to someone so long on a plane, but you're very interesting. But he had an interesting concept when it comes to people and the way they handle their monies. And he was giving me a synopsis of it. And he had me thinking that is the way I think, but I never put it in that perspective, the way he put it. And he does lecture on these things. Lectures all over the world. He has a foundation in the US. Very nice guy, very successful individual. And we have a lot in common. We were talking about things in common that we have and how we look at it and what it does for us.
Yeah.
And you know, that me time that you have sometime, or enjoying things that you wouldn't enjoy with other people but you enjoy it by yourself, or sometimes someone who enjoyed like yourself, you spend time with that person. And the wonderful thing about it is that concept he had about finances. And I think, based on what he told me and my whole way of dealing with things, and I had another person who met me in Canada told me, she said, you don't ever complain about anything, eh? Because when it was snowing, I out in the snow, I moving about as normal, cold like hell. Well, it gotta be cold like hell, but cold. And I wasn't complaining about nothing. Everybody there complaining, oh, it's too cold, it's raining. So what? I hear, that's the weather. And the person had to say, well, why don't you complain about it? I said, I'm a very optimistic person. I see positive in everything. So next year I'm going to take that concept and develop something out of it. And like him, with his guidance, of course, because we're in discussions, maybe empower people differently, to think differently about themselves and their finances and what they can do with it. You know, as Sparrow said, you can't make love without money, eh?
And you can't make love on a hungry belly as well.
Yes, that is right.
You know,
and if you don't have money, you can't buy food.
No. You just use a phrase there, and I really thought about it. And you know, it really set your mind on thinking that what we Trinbagonians said, it cold like hell.
Yeah.
Now, how could
it could be cold like hell. I know it cold like dog nose.
Cold like dog nose, yeah.
But cold like hell.
How could you know?
But I tell you, it's unique to Trinidad. A Trinidadian will understand that. You tell another Trinidadian that, he say, yeah, but it's real cold.
Yeah.
It's cold like hell.
You tell a foreigner cold like hell. He say, where are you coming from, dude?
Where the hell are you coming from?
You know?
So Rowan says, don't worry, I don't have any dogs. Let me ask you if you have any pussy.
Are they biting people these days, eh?
Well, only one person biting. Why are men intimidated by sexually confident women? That's a very good question. Men are intimidated by sexually confident women because men think that sex is about the man. It's a macho thing. When they meet a woman who is sexually confident or who knows what she wants out of sex, they cannot match up to it because it affects their ego. They should do like the person who have an understanding about themselves and what sex is all about. Lie back, sit back, and relax and enjoy.
Let the mind
you take control and do whatever you want to do.
Which makes sense.
She said no, she don't have any pussy either. So you wouldn't get scratched. Don't worry, you wouldn't get scratched. I just asking on behalf, you know.
I know. Come to my time, doctor.
Good night, doctor. My husband doesn't get very hard, and sometimes when we're in the middle of having sex, his penis does go right back down. Sometimes he's 49. Well, that is related to his age. Yeah. So there are treatment for it. You know, there's some things I could say, but I have to be careful if I say it on the air because people could get in trouble.
And we're speaking in terms of a lot of people. Right?
You being one of them.
No, I try to kind of cipher what's going on when you answer. But that's as far as it goes.
You know, andropause is such a terrible thing, eh? But so many people are sending me messages, but nobody has sent me the pictures, so I can't tell you what they look like. I can't tell you because I know you'll ask that question.
Strange, we haven't got. I can't say we, but you haven't gotten no pics.
Not tonight, not a single pic.
Tonight was a kind of slow night for you with pics.
Yeah, boy. I was hoping you didn't notice, you know, because I'm feeling kind of wounded.
Because I know
no pics from anyone.
I know sometimes you rock back on your chair with a smile on your face and you say,
well, not tonight, boy.
Tonight?
Not tonight. So nobody is sending me a picture of.
So tonight is hardball.
Tonight is just difficulty. Just pure difficulties. Yeah. Nothing to entertain the eyes. Yeah. Maybe that's why my eyes are hurting.
That don't sound like
maybe it. That's why my eyes are hurting. I'm not seeing things to
energize you.
Yeah.
And you know when you get energized, you know what I'm doing.
Yes, I do see people in Princestown. The number there is 770-8700. You can call and make an appointment. I'll be there on Tuesday from 10 a.m. So for the person who asked that question, one thing I'll tell you, boy, Princestown and Davie is building up so quickly. I may have to spend an entire day at each place soon.
Oh.
Next thing I have to get an apartment in those places. Stay the night.
You don't.
Why are you laughing at me?
You don't.
If I don't what?
Have an apartment. Have an apartment.
No. Why would I have that?
No, because sometimes, traveling, it could be, and especially with these days, traffic and the repairing. As I understand, over the weekend here, they're going to be a discomfort traveling.
Yeah, we just had to take the bus route. I took it from Makoya to...
You're allowed to?
Yeah. Well, that's what I was told. So if I get a ticket, the person who told me that is paying the ticket. Because I didn't see any bulletin. There's no signs on the road.
No.
Not a single sign on the road to tell you that if you're going into Port of Spain, don't use the highway, take Makoya and go on to the bus route. So there's no signs. None. Rohan, you're lapsing. Yeah.
No signs at all?
No signs. Not a single sign from Trinity to Makoya to say construction on the highway closed, please take the bus route. Somebody told me I could take the bus route.
No.
So if I get a ticket, that person is going to pay it because I haven't seen that anyway.
I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that anyway as well.
They say they got a bulletin.
The bulletin going.
A bulletin. I am just saying what the person say.
Yeah. Okay, you.
No, the person told me that. They say you're safe to go onto the bus route.
So the person who mentioned that to you is good information, right?
I trust the person, yes,
Oh, you trust?
with information
Yeah.
because I don't ever go on the bus route.
No.
No, I don't. I don't ever go on unless it's a diversion of the main road or the highway.
Well, then you don't have a choice then.
All right. So I took the person's advice and I went onto the bus. So anybody stop me and give me a ticket on the bus route, I'll take it. But that person going to pay it for me. Telling you as it is. She's listening too.
She's listening.
I'm sure she's listening. She off the radio at that point, but when I said that,
I hope she has some authority in giving you that information.
ooh. Oh, they just sent me the bulletin where you can use the bus route. So I think she tried to get away, but if I still get a ticket, I'll send it by you.
Yeah, but that,
So you can take the bus route.
yeah, but that was real fast though.
Well, she's listening, I told you.
Yeah. She had fast fingers.
Yeah, boy. She finger that thing fast and true, boy.
Yeah. She had fast fingers.
I don't know, how would I know?
Yeah,
You
but
just
it's
say,
not- I thought it's
you
not
just
fast.
say the woman have
Yeah,
fast fingers. I'm agreeing with you because she said,
Yeah, but you agree with me because, well, it's someone that you know.
but she sent it quickly.
Yeah, so she do have fast fingers.
So if I get a ticket still, I'm still sending it to her
you
and she will pay it. Because she could have just typed up that quickly. She have fast fingers.
She have fast fingers, yeah. You never can tell.
Just having fun. So I think to go back, I hope you could take from Mount Hope to Makoya, then I go back onto the main road and head home. Okay.
So it's locked off tonight or
So they said from 8 o'clock tonight to
until Sunday, I think.
ooh. Somebody actually sent me a picture.
You
Uh-huh.
got a pick.
I got a pic.
Well, at least that would make it.
It's a kind of dark, so I have to strain my eye to see. But I'm very grateful that I got at least one picture.
Yeah, well, at least you got one. That's
Yeah, no, I got two. Actually, the other person sent me a picture of the routing. That was a picture.
Yeah, because
So thank you very much for sending that picture. It is not hurtful on the eyes at all. So, but it's a little too dark.
I'll do that.
I have to squint.
No, when you have a squint, it's bad.
Yeah. Shouldn't be allowed to squint. So, folks, we're almost at the end of our program. Remember, those of you who are heading to the east or heading to the west using the highway, it has been blocked off. I don't know where and what. Do you all sell cock ring? Of course we do. Yes, all the stores. We have a variety. As a matter of fact, we got a shipment of cock ring about 2 weeks ago. About 12 different types.
Mm.
Yeah. Cock ring like that. Yes. So I was told you could use the bus route from Mount Hope to Macoya.
Okay.
So,
Well, that clears it up.
yeah.
If anybody going to get a ticket, check Raj's friend.
Yes. All the tickets. Bring it by me and I handed it to her.
Who do you think you're
Nah,
running
she sent the bulletin. So with that, folks, remember, if those of you who want to visit the stores, you can call them. You can go and visit. The main number to call if you want to get any information is 645-9829. That is the store in St. Augustine, or 645-4543. You don't have to take down all the other numbers. They will give you the numbers for the other stores. The one in Bamboo number 3, the one in Princestown, and the one in DB. So you can actually call the one closest to you to get your products. You could do your private shopping at Princestown and DB. You can go and get your discount by popping or pricking the balloons and getting your discount paper in the balloon.
How many balloons here? You got some?
Real balloon, but I see the balloon like that. So I was told they have plenty balloons and plenty more put away.
But of course, if you run short of balloons, I know what you could use as a substitute.
I know that.
And you have different colors.
And please don't ask me the price of anything. I do not know the price of anything. Call the store. Because we have 2,000 items. You expect me to remember or put in my brain the price for 2,000 items, and prices change every day and sometimes.
Yeah, but this is a program.
With importation.
Yeah.
Ooh, another person. Oh, she sent a full. I thought it was another person sent one. I was getting lucky tonight. She sent a full body photograph. Very nice. Ooh. Stacked in the right places. Junior, you like that, boy?
Hey. That's what we're talking about.
We are. So, folks, good night. Until next week. Be good.